Today's video, I'm going to go over a few different champions that I highly recommend everybody building at least one of. I have all of these champions built, and they're all pretty valuable, to be honest. But I can guarantee if you're playing this game for a good amount of time, you're going to have at least one of these champions. I mean, it's guaranteed to happen, okay? It's a Doom Tower Secret Room champion on normal difficulty. It's the second one, Acoth. Now, he's not going to be the first champion on this list, but he is one of them. Now, first thing, right off the bat, I'm not going to be mentioning Geomancer, and I'm not going to be mentioning Seer. Well, outside of just now mentioning them, but those are amazing champions, but they're not going to be talked about in this video. Obviously, if you have that champion, you're going to want to build it, but for this video, I'm going to talk about more of the efficiency, okay? And that is going to be building a solo champion for one of these main 3 dungeons, okay? You have Ice Golem, Spider, and Dragon. You can solo all 3 of these different dungeons. Fire Knight, you can't really solo it. I've never seen anybody do it. At best, I've seen somebody duo it, but soloing, not going to happen. Minotaur, you can probably have a Minotaur farmer done at like the first 45 days or even sooner of playing if you're playing 100% free to play. But besides that, Minotaur, very, very important to have a solo champion in my opinion. But besides that, hopefully you guys can't hear the dog drinking behind me. It's kind of, I can hear it. But either way, Ice Golem, Spider, and Dragon. Now, before we get into actually showcasing these champions, a few things I want to mention is this spreadsheet that I'm showing right here. I will link this down below, and I'll also try to link to all the videos that I've done before talking about each one of these champions, because each one of them I go more in depth on those videos than I will be right here. Obviously, because this would be a hour-long video, and yeah, you're not going to stick around for an hour-long video. But this right here, this Google Sheet, is going to show the breakdown for Spider Stage 20. But as far as I'm aware, the breakdown, the numbers aren't going to be the same, but the percentages should be the same. So what I'm seeing here is Stage 20. If you are going for soloing, it's actually a pretty good bang for your buck because you're getting a very high amount of experience per run because it costs a lot less energy. The experience you get, I believe, is the same from 20 on. I forget, but it's going to cost less energy. So in the end, you're going to get more experience per energy spent. So stage 20 is going to be the best for actual experience, meaning if you're going to solo, it's going to be the most efficient to do stage 20 if you're not so much worried about the gear. But if you're worried about the gear, stage 24 is going to be a very good option because you're going to get better gear and you're going to get a little bit more experience. But not all the champions that I'm talking about today can do stage 24 solo on the different areas of the game. So you may want to do stage 25. Oddly enough, it's sometimes a little bit easier. It's a little bit drop off on the efficiency as far as the experience per energy spent, basically. But as far as the gear drops go, it's a little bit better. You're going to get a little bit more higher quality gear, a little bit more 6-star legendary pieces. Don't pay attention to the silver because it's only specific to Spider. But if you're curious about Spider specific farming, then definitely check this out. I'll have it linked down below. But let's go ahead and get this list started off with the champion who might be the #1. Usually these lists start with the worst to the best, but we're going to start with probably the best, to be honest, and it's a pretty achievable champion. That's Venomage. So Venomage, let me show you guys the picture that I have. Okay, this was the wrong picture there, but the picture that I have of Venomage soloing Dragon Stage 24, okay? This build, I believe, was like 98, 97% consistent. Like I said, everything will be linked down below. This right here is the build that I used. This Venomage, I just now ran through Ice Golem Stage 24 as well, and she did it. I don't know how consistent it's going to be, but if you want to build a Venomage, Regeneration plus Immortal with these similar stats, if you can hit them, is going to be perfect. Go ahead and screenshot that, whatever you want. These masteries are what I used for a very, very consistent runtime. And the best part about this, why I think Venomage is the best, probably, first off, she's an epic champion. He, she, doesn't really matter, but an epic champion, so pretty easy to get, easy to book, which you definitely want to book her, 100%. But not only that, she can also basically solo Lizardman Faction Wars, which is incredible. She can also solo the Doom Tower Secret Room. I'm pretty sure, 99% sure. Is there a Lizardman Secret Room here, actually? If there's an epic Lizardman Secret Room, I may be able to do it right now. I forget what rotation it's on. Yeah, she can actually do some crazy work here. Like if you have her built in the build to solo Dragon Stage 24, it's not 100% consistent, but she can do this absolutely amazing. We'll try to work through this first wave before we get started talking about the second champion. But even if you're not going to solo different dungeons. Maybe you don't have enough time to do that. Maybe you want to speed farm instead. Obviously, if she does stage 24, She's going to do stage 20 as well. I believe they're the same affinity. Their spirit affinity is what you're going to want to be going for because she's magic affinity. So obviously go against the thing that she's strong affinity against. It's going to be perfect. But you can see right here, I mean, we're working through this first wave with no real issue. She's going to go through all 3 of the waves, no issue. And this is a fairly difficult room. So if you have Venomage, 100% worth investing in. So like I said, Dragon Stage 24, she did. Dragon Stage 20, let's see what Dragon Stage 20 is. It's magic affinity. So maybe not, since it's neutral affinity, she may not be able to do that. But coming over to Ice Golem Stage 20 is spirit affinity. So she should be able to do that. I haven't actually tested it. But Ice Golem Stage 24, I just tested it, ran her 1 time. She did it, but it's not going to be super consistent, I don't believe. I haven't ran 100 runs. This one that I showed you guys the image of, I did run 100 runs, and it was about 97, 90% consistent, if I'm recalling the previous video correctly. The next champion. This is the champion who's going to be 100% for free. I mean, it's the Doom Tower normal secret room champion that I mentioned, and that is Acoth the Seared. Now, Acoth's a unique one because he can solo Spider Stage 20. So we already talked about Dragon and Ice Golem solo champion and Venomage. Acoth is an epic champion, so pretty easy to book. Definitely, if you're going to use him to solo, you might as well book him. But he's a free champion, an epic champion, so already pretty achievable there. He can do stage 20 of Spider. You can see right here, stage 20 of Spider. He was like 96, 97% consistent over 100 runs, so not really the best, but it worked, okay? So if you're looking for a solo Spider champion, he's a great option. But the reason why Acoth is on this list is because not only can he solo Spider Stage 20, but more importantly, he can actually duo Stage 24 and Stage 25 relatively easy with 2 other epic champions. So if you pair Acoth with this guy right up here, let's go ahead and find him. I forget where he's at. Maybe Sacred Order? Archmage Helmet? Hello? Where you at, dude? Bannerlords, maybe? Yeah, here we go. Archmage Helmet. So Archmage Helmet and Acoth the Seared can do Spider Stage 24, I believe it is together. Spider Stage 24 is Spirit Affinity, so they're both strong affinity there. And then Acoth plus a Chalk, which is another Demon Spawn champion, can do Spider Stage 25 together. I have both those videos on my channel. It's absolutely amazing champion to invest in, being Acoth. Obviously, if you have a different burn champion like Crypt King Graal, which is later on this list, he can work out great with both of those other epics. But if you don't have Crypt King, Acoth is an excellent option for soloing Spider Stage 20. Fairly high gear requirements, I'd say, especially for doing Spider Stage 20. But besides that, Stage 24 and 25 options, fantastic. He can definitely be an asset as well for Dragon and Ice Golem. Mostly Ice Golem because the burns do a little bit more there. So you could bring Acoth into Ice Golem 24, 25. Let's see what the affinities are real quick. But pair him up with one of those other champions and it should be okay. Especially, let's see, 24. You could probably do Acoth plus Archmage. They're both strong affinity. Archmage brings a stun, so it can lock down that first wave. If they have any cleanses or anything, it should work out great. So the next champion is one of my favorite champions. That is Crypt King Graal. So Crypt King Graal actually got buffed not too long ago, I believe, but basically he's an amazing champion now. Apparently, my favorite champion, I don't even know what faction he's in, but he's an Undead Horde faction, okay? Crypt King Graal, he's so amazing because he has an AoE burn that he can also place a freeze, okay? Now, the caveat with this is that he has to have all the enemies burning for him to actually do his freeze on auto, at least from what I've noticed. Now, this makes it a little bit weird on Spider, so I had to do a lot of finessing with his builds for him to actually work in Spider, but Spider Stage 20, easy. Spider Stage 24, a little bit more difficult, but I've gotten him to be able to solo at, I believe, 98% consistent. I've ran hundreds and hundreds of runs, couldn't get it to 100% consistency, but this is the build that I use for Spider Stage 24 solo with basically 100% consistent, okay? 98%, very good. Let's go ahead and do this on stage 24. The nice thing about Crypt King Graal is he's actually my fastest team as well. Let me go ahead and throw in some of these low-level champions. We'll try to do a few runs. If it's not going to take forever, I don't want this video to be super long, but this run usually takes about 1 minute and 30 seconds since I'm not using any turn meter boosting effects in this. So you'll see no turn meter manipulation. It's very consistent. Assuming he's still in the same gear as he was back then. I have RSL Helper going right now, so He is 69. Okay, so a little bit better, actually. Yeah, a little bit higher defense. Same. Okay, yeah. I guess I maybe got a Faction Guardian to fill it out. So perfect. My RSL helper is saying that he's a little bit better than he was before. Now, as far as his gear, I think it's basically the same. So we'll watch this just real quick. But Crypt King Graal, if you have him, definitely invest in him. Because not only can he do Spider Stage 20, Spider Stage 24, but he can also do Ice Golem Stage 24. Ice Golem Stage 20, it's Spirit Affinity, so he can also do that. If you're looking for a Stage 20 team, you're more prioritized on the energy, or not the energy, the experience, and not so much on the gear, then Stage 20 is probably the better option. Stage 20 Spider, you can get a little bit more silver, a little bit more experience, and it's going to be easier as far as gear requirements. But if you're looking for good drops from Spider, Stage 24 is an excellent option. Obviously, if you're going for CVC points, Stage 25 of Spider is the way to go, especially with the upcoming personal reward CVC. You may want to do that anyways. But Stage 24 Spider, minute 20, very consistent minute 20 as well. Definitely a champion who you should be investing in if you have him. Also, he's a very good Hydra champion as well. So Hydra, Spider, Ice Golem, not so much Dragon, though he could be set up with a duo champion to do Dragon Stage 24, I believe it is. You gotta make sure these champions for the solo champions are strong affinity. So Stage 24, you could definitely throw him in here with a, say, Venomage. Side by side, they should do that perfectly fine. You really need a poison champion for Dragon, though, just period, because burns just don't do enough damage to actually kill the Dragon unless the champion's hitting really hard. I've tried it, just haven't had luck with it yet. Now, the last but not least champion, we do have a few honorable mentions after this, but it's going to be Bad El Kazar. Now, you can't make a solo list without including Bad El Kazar. He's just amazing. He's a pretty easy champion to gear. If you have him, you probably already have him built for this. But basically, he can solo Ice Golem Stage 25. Like I said, you want to make sure the champions are strong affinity most of the time. He is strong affinity on Ice Golem Stage 25. And then on Dragon Stage 25, he's actually neutral affinity. But since he has so many cleanses, so many continuous heals, he's just an amazing champion in general. He can solo Stage 25 as well. So Stage 25 of Dragon's Lair, Stage 25 of Ice Golem's Peak, you can do both of them with the same gear. Very good champion. This is the build that I use my Bad El. I'll link to the video that I did, one video showcasing both different dungeons. He actually does it pretty fast as well, to be honest. Now, this particular build that I have him in is Frenzy gear, but he can do this in a ton of different gear sets. Reflex, Relentless, it's really just the stats the main thing. Now, if you're not using Frenzy, you may have to boost this speed to like 250, somewhere around there. But other than that, he's an amazing champion. So the honorable mentions that I want to include is going to be Richoff the Bold. Now, the reason why I didn't actually include him on this list is because he's a little bit difficult to build, but being Spirit Affinity, he can do Dragon Stage 25. But since he's Spirit, he can't do Ice Golem Stage 25 or 24. He can do 23. He can also do, I think, Scarab King. He can do other things. But honestly, if you have Venomage, I think I would just invest in Venomage. I feel like Richoff doesn't have as many options as Venomage does, and she's just a much better champion, in my opinion, for building for this solo content. Now, if you're really dead set on doing Dragon Stage 25, you can use Richoff. You can also use Grim. There are different options, but Richoff can be built. He is a solo champion. I've done a video on him, but he's just not my top pick. At least not if you have these other options, right? And then we have Grim. I may have missed some, but Grim is an honorable mention as well. Used to be better, could solo these different areas of the game a lot easier, but with some nerfs, can't do it as easy. Basically, a baby Bad El can do Stage 25 of Dragon, but the other stages where there's a cleanser, it's a little more difficult because solely relies on the poisons and the continuous heals, and if they have block debuffs, then you can't place any poisons. Continuous heal on Grim isn't as good as Bad El's. Of course, it's only 1 versus 2. So Grim's an amazing champion, can definitely solo Stage 25 of Dragon, but it was like 96% consistent for me. So keep that in mind. Grim definitely could probably be made to do it at a higher consistency, but as of right now, Grim and Richoff, they're good options if you have them, if you can use them in other areas. But for me, I think the much better options are in Venomage, Crypt King Graal, Bad El, and then Acoth for if you don't have those champions. So guys, hope you all enjoyed that video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it, and I'll catch you all in the next one.